Hello, everybody. We're back with another quick little lesson about a few different topics. We're going to do just the basics. I know Mrs. Bergen introduced you guys to these topics before. We're going to go into maybe a little bit more detail, answer a few questions, ask a few questions, and really just, get the overall vibe of these couple battles and the Emancipation Proclamation. People that like the Civil War, they get super into these battles, and we could spend, a whole year just talking about a couple of these, but we're just doing the surface level key details. So, our first one. This is the first major battle of the Civil War. This is the Battle of Bull Run. There actually ends up being a second Battle of Bull Run, but this is the Battle of Bull Run. It's on July 21st, 1861, and this is what people credit as the first really big battle, right? Both sides bring tons of troops. This really surprises everybody. Before this war really kicked off, even after, the Battle of Fort Sumter, people thought it was going to be, small little fighting, and then there's going to be a compromise. Maybe it takes a year or something, but this battle proves to people, because of how huge the armies are and how serious the fighting is, it proves that this is going to be a long and hard war. So both sides bring around 18,000 troops. The North have a little bit more than the South, but it's more or less equal. At the start of the battle, though, the North they have all their troops, and the South, they have to wait for some of their reinforcements. And the North, they are winning at the start. This battle also takes place in the North. This battle is where the South, they're trying to move into the North, and this is the first battle of their attempt to do that. So they are getting pushed back by the South, right? The South is getting pushed back by the North. This is like a map of how the battle is going in the morning. So in the morning, the North, they're commandingly winning this right now. They're forcing the South back, and things seem to be going pretty well for the North. But what ends up happening is the South get reinforcements, meaning more troops from their army show up to help. And once in the afternoon these reinforcements come in, they beat the Northern Army back, and they actually completely roll through the Northern Army. They force the Northern Army to retreat, and while they're retreating, they take prisoners, they kill a bunch of people, and this is a very commanding victory for the North. If we see the second map, this is in the afternoon, right? The red, the South, they've gotten tons more area covered. They're now pushing forward. They're pushing the North back. Some of the Northerners are running away off on the side. This is an absolute mess for the North. This is a major defeat for the North and a major victory for the South. And this was a big shock. When we look at these results, it's a shock that people, again, thought that this war was going to be pretty quick. This proves it is not going to be quick. And part of the reason why this shock is important is because the Northerners who are shocked, they join the army. A lot of men, they think, hey, I thought this was going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, so I want to do my part. I want to help defeat the South. And so they join up. And that helps the North build a really, really big army. And that ends up being a major advantage they have over the South. So our next major battle we're going to cover is the Battle of Antietam. So this battle is called the bloodiest battle of the entire Civil War. It takes place over a little more than a day. It's like 2 days, give or take. And this is the battle where both sides really go all out. The North, they bring 87,000 men. The South, they bring almost 40,000 men. So just in that, there are, 125,000 people, or more than that by a little bit, in one battle, which is a ridiculous number of people. If we think about like ancient history, battles were like a few thousand guys, if that, usually. And this is like with guns and all that. It's an absolutely crazy thing to have this many people fighting. And because there's so many people fighting, there's a lot of people dying, unfortunately. So we have over 20,000 people killed or wounded in this battle. There are, I think it's like 3,600 people die, and the rest of that are people that are wounded or people that are captured. And a lot of those people that are wounded, they end up dying due to infection and disease and stuff like that. It's a absolute bloodbath. It's a total mess. And the reason why it's a total mess is because not only is it all these people fighting, but neither side is winning. It's just going back and forth and back and forth. So if we look at this map, actually, it's just back and forth, right? People are just staying in the middle here. We're making moves forward, but then we're getting pushed back. Then we're going forward, then we're going back. And it's just, nobody's winning anything. So that means people are just losing, right? People are just dying. It's a whole mess. But because the North has so many more troops, they are able to win the battle, quote unquote, because the South just cannot afford to spend all those people. They can't afford to spend all those lives on continuing this battle. So this ends up being a really major victory for the North. And this is the last battle that takes place in the North. This is where the Southern attempts to siege and to attack the North fail, and the South is pushed back. The rest of the war will take place in the South because of this battle and this loss for the South and victory for the North. So, like we said, huge losses. I talked about the invasion, and neither side has a clear advantage, right? This is a big advantage, or this was a big win for the North, but the South also had big wins before. It's really unclear at this point in the war who's going to win. It's just clear that it's going to keep going on, and it's clear it's going to be tough. So, our big reaction to this battle is Abraham Lincoln. He tries to compromise with the South. So his compromise is, he says, if the South, if these 10 states that are fighting the war, if they compromise and rejoin the United States, he will, let that happen. But he says if they do not join, then, as I wrote here, he's going to officially free all the slaves in the South on January 1st, 1863. So he says specifically those 10 states that are rebelling, that are fighting, he says, I'm going to free every enslaved person in your territory if you do not give up by January 1st. And the South do not agree to this because, obviously, we have more of a war to cover. And the South, they find this insulting, and they think they can win. Because, again, it is kind of unclear who's going to win at this point. It could go either way. So, this does not necessarily free all the slaves. There are still a lot of slave states. There's still a lot of enslaved people. But this, for those 10 states that are in open rebellion, it makes those people free if the North wins the war. That's the idea. So this also makes the war even more clearly about slavery. And also a lot of African Americans and former slaves and families of former slaves that live in the North, they join the Union Army to fight against slavery and to fight against the South. And this is a big motivator for the Northern Army, and it makes the Northern Army even bigger, and that builds even more of an advantage for the North. So guys, this is we're going to learn a bit more about it, and we're going to go a little more deeply into it, but this is kind of the broad strokes. So I'll see everybody on the next one, and I hope everybody's having a lovely week.